Hey Leos, welcome back to Deku Tarot. Long time no see. So sorry you guys didn't get a November read. I started them kind of late already, so I figured I'll make you guys the first for December. End of the year, here we are, finally. How crazy is it that we are about to enter 2022? So, obviously went on a little hiatus there. Nothing personal, just needed me time. Needed to step away from social media and go through my own thing. But let's not talk about me, because it's been a while since we've talked about you. And I have to say, my immediate feeling is, I don't know. I mean, we'll talk about the astrology. We'll obviously talk about the tarot, but I just immediately feel that this sense of just this building, like, oh my God, there's nothing I can say that's right. It feels like right now, there's nothing that I can do that's right. Now my energy and like everything that I'm doing is just feeling so blocked. It's almost like a life Mercury retrograde, or it just feels like nothing. You're putting things out there. It's like if you were to throw a water balloon or an egg in a wind tunnel or something, it'd come right back at your face and smash it all over you. And that's kind of how you're feeling. It's just the energy that I'm getting with you guys right now. It's like, can I just catch like one break? Can we just move past like this never ending, it feels like, current that is trying to drag me back places that I don't want to be, because I've moved beyond that. And Leos. You guys are also the first, of course you guys are the first to see my new haircut. I just cut off all my hair, so all the other videos have me with this long hair, and then you start off December being the sign that's known for its hair like this. And I'll blame it on my Vedic Leo moon, that I always feel like my hair is like doing its own thing whenever I read for you guys. But let's talk a little bit here. So we're starting off December pretty hot and heavy with all this really intense fifth house energy for you guys. So let's just talk about that, because Sagittarius, especially obviously for Leo risings, is all fifth house energy. So Sagittarius month it's really a season of like love, sex, pleasure, looking at relationships, children in very different ways. How do you experience pleasure? How do you experience these things? What do you want to do? It's kind of into some, I don't want to say escapism exactly, but it is all about the good stuff. And if you see me looking down, I'm looking at my astrology notes, because there's a lot happening this month, and I figured we got to talk about it a little bit. So we have a lot going on there, especially with that first solar eclipse there in Sagittarius, that new moon. So that is going to be a really big clearing out. That's kind of ending, really, the eclipses in the North and South node transits through Sagittarius and Gemini. So it's sitting, we have the solar eclipse in Sagittarius, which is also a new moon, and going through hitting the South node there, which is Sagittarius, all in your fifth house. So there's going to be a lot of changed beliefs, really, I feel like, on what you enjoy, how you enjoy it, and how do you see what you want now. I mean, especially since, go back to when the nodes first went into Sagittarius and Gemini, I want to say like end of 2019, early 2020? Is it 2020 or 2021? Forgive me if I'm wrong on that. I feel like I didn't write that one down. But just go back to all the eclipses that we've been through over the past year or so, year and a half. It's been a really big focus for changes in those areas for you, on your fifth house and in your 10th house. And that's really, we'll get there as well. But like, there's been a lot of changing in how you see yourself, how you want the world to see you, how you view work, how you view career, and how you want career to view you, and how you want it to look to the rest of the world. It's all about, 10th house is all about how you project yourself to the world, your outer image. And that's been in Gemini in the North Node. So there'll be a lot of wrapping up this, really like clearing out and wrapping up. It feels like a lot of fifth house pleasure stuff that we've had to work through and change over this time. Also with friends, hobbies, things like that. And you could find yourself feeling like I don't know, I'm just going to tell you guys, especially with there's going to be a lot of focus with sixth house stuff, which can rule health, etc. And so just be careful of extending your energy too much at this time. It's just like I'm going to say, because there's a lot of sixth house stuff this month as well. So yeah, we have all this stuff right there at the beginning of the month, really shifting our focus. And shifting our focus very intensely, really wrapping up. I don't want to say shifting, but like, it's more like it's wrapping up and clearing out this kind of stuff here. With how do we see what we enjoy? How do we enjoy pleasure? How do we enjoy, you know, again, sexual relationships, physical relationships? How do we see our views on children, possibly? Things like that might have changed a lot for you over the past year or so. But anyways, that's a really big moment in the beginning of the month. We'll just pull some cards now and see how it kind of correlates with the rest of the astrology, because there is a lot. Obviously, we got Venus going retrograde in Capricorn, and that's, again, going through your 6th house, and that's going to be going on for a while, so do pay attention to that, because Venus rules your 10th house of career, but it's going through your 6th house of, you know, day-to-day routines, of health, of things like that. So again, you're going to really be looking at, you know, what's working, what's not working, how is playing by the rules working, how is it not, what do I need to change in terms of my daily routines, my physical health, like, again, also with coworkers, with people that you're working with, living with, like, what kind of little changes can we make here? What just came out? Oh my God, your cards are jumping. I saw that. I had a feeling, like, with all this pressure, we were going to see this. Don't worry about it. Like, we're going to get there, don't worry. But it is there. And if you're wondering, we're using the Golden Art Nouveau Tarot. I forgot the box in the other room, but I believe it's that. I always tend to use gold decks for you. So let's take a look here. You have these really big moments as well I do want to talk about, because we have so much 10th house stuff going on as well. I do think that you're going to be really, like, changing a lot this month, or really starting changes, I feel like, and focusing on how you want to change in terms of work. Like, what do you want to work as? How are you enjoying work? Daily, how are you enjoying work? What are you doing? How does that look to other people? Those could be really big things that you're questioning, changing, and making big moves on this month. I just want to throw that in there. I think it's going to come up in the cards. Just looking at what they are. But dang, you guys are really out of energy this month. Let's get into it. I feel like I'm starting this reading off so different compared to the others. I don't know. Fixed signs always, you guys started off different. I will say there's a lot of exhaustion here. So please rest, my lovely Leos. My lovely fixed fire, it is time for you to rest in Capricorn season. You got to rest up, because January is going to be a lot. And I'm just going to say that right now. January, that month is going to be, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. It's going to feel like a full year in itself. So just rest, please, okay? You deserve it. You need to. I know you're, like, got mad FOMO here. That's very clear that you feel like you're very trapped. You're really stuck. You can't go out. Again, like I was saying, when these cards came out, I was talking about how you feel like you're being attacked, how it feels very exhausting. Nothing is going right. I also feel your principles and your values are kind of under fire a little bit right now. You don't feel like, and it's not even that people are saying anything is what I'm getting. It's like in your head that you believe that people are looking at you differently. It's like almost like you think that people are thinking about you like, oh, I'm stupid, I'm not doing this right. They think I'm naive, they think I'm a child, they think this about me. They think, like, you're like manifesting this negative storyline in your head. And again, I will say, I think it's the astrology, but I just think there's a lot of capacity right now, especially end of November, beginning of December, probably a lot of December, honestly. And there's a lot of capacity to get stuck, to get lost in the sauce, to get lost in our fantasy stories. And I don't mean fantasy always in a good way, because Nine of Swords is very much being stuck in the wrong fantasy. And there might be a lot of dark nights of this emotional purging that you feel, because, and I'm almost getting for some of you, like, all the times that you haven't stood up for yourself, all the times you didn't say the things that you know you wanted to say, all the times that you let people trigger you in a way that made you look weak, that made you look like you weren't powerful enough, you couldn't stand on your own, you couldn't be the Leo in the room. And it's almost like you feel this month like, I've lost my fire. Where is that? Where's that drive, that energy, that don't fuck with me kind of energy? Pardon my French there, but that's what it is. It's like, don't mess with me, big boys in the room. And that's the kind of energy that you guys usually have. It's like, oh damn, there's a Leo, like not in a negative way, but it's like you are like feeling very negative about this. And what you have to understand is that you're going to be going through some really big moments this month, and I will pull some. Don't worry, we're going to get to the Tower. I know you guys are already worried about it. I can feel the impending stress, especially with the first cards that are coming out here. But it's really important to recognize, especially within relationships, and I mean all types of relationships, friendships, family, people that you live with, people, and this card I'm going to leave out here because that's kind of a general energy card. I saw this actually before I even started the camera, which is why I wanted to talk about the energy and communication and feeling held back feeling. For those of you, especially who wanted to travel, I mean, like, that's a main thing here is, like, you are, like, it's like a no. If any of you have ever watched Little Britain, it's like computer says no. Like, anytime you try to go anywhere, do anything, it feels like even sometimes just, like, short-term travel, speak, turn on the computer, just do anything. It's like, nope. Computer says no. Body says no. It's all done. It's all over. Give me 1 second. Just want to make sure that was... Sorry, guys. But... yeah, there's this, this was the first card that was out, and then everything else kind of followed suit. And you're also, I feel like for some of you, you're waiting on communication from somebody, and again, it could be a person, a romantic person, somebody from the past. It feels like maybe even like an ex that for some reason, like, I don't know, you might have reached out to expecting something, and you're just like not getting that easy path forward that you've expected. I feel like a lot of the fixed signs believe that they can, not believe, we have a type of very powerful energy that allows us, I don't want to say to float through life, but to, or barge through life, but to kind of push through in a way that I think a lot of other signs don't in the same way. I'm trying to find the right word for that. But when we feel we don't have that same empowered presence, like, I mean, for example, as a Taurus, I'm ruled by Venus. So sometimes, like, Tauruses are known, I don't want, that just sounds like I'm talking like that about myself. Let's talk about Aquarians. Aquarians are fixed air. They are all about community. They're all about, you know, bigger, like, higher learning, interesting things. All the stuff that air is. I don't have any air in my chart, so forgive me if I feel like, if you are an air sign, you feel like I didn't describe that right. But Aquarians tend to have, like, these, to get into communities and really make their way up it. They get places in their community. They find ways, especially through on social media. You'll see a lot of very famous, I feel like, social mediaites or people that are just like, I'm gonna, you know, start this like blog, or I'm gonna start this thing, I'm gonna start this, you know, account doing this, and then it just kind of blows up because they're just naturally really good with this stuff. Just like you're very naturally a really, like, a fire sign. You're kind of like, moths are drawn to you. You have social things going on. You're doing this, you're doing that. You just burn right through life in a very easy, powerful, warm, incredible way. And when you don't feel like you have that, and I mean, like, it's very clear here. It's like, I can't even get one up. Like, that's what she said, but like, I can't even get one. I can't even like, you know, run today. Like, I can't even, like, physically, again, like I'm saying, you guys are exhausted. I don't care if you're gym rats. I don't care if you're addicted to that. Take a goddamn break, because otherwise you're going to get very, very ill is something that is definitely coming up here. And it's, again, like I said, in the astrology, that's very, very important here. That definitely comes up. Let me see, where was that I saw that, or that I wrote that down about your health. Yeah, because again, Venus is, I mean, like I was saying, with Venus and Capricorn, Capricorn rules your 6th house. And like, again, when Capricorn is going, you know, retrograde there, you might find yourself, again, not feeling well. You might find yourself, like, needing to work on these things in your life, like work on your day-to-day, work on your health, work on all that. And it's going to be really important that you focus on that and that you pay attention to that this month. And that's very clear with all the wands going backwards. Also, I'm going to say this is not the month to, I don't know if I can tell you to do this because of the astrology this month, but it's not the month to, I think, pop off. There's a lot of very interesting, not interesting, maybe, I wouldn't say negative. Mercury is in detriment in Sagittarius, and that's, again, your 5th house of pleasure and all that. And it also makes communicating very difficult, I feel like, for you guys. It makes communicating very, like, you can't get to the point. Like, I'm having trouble getting to the point you're reading. It's like, I'm feeling this energy that you're feeling, where it's like, how do I get to the point? How do I even, like, put into words these big things? How do I even conceptualize this? It's like, just sit, just like chill, process it a little bit more, okay? Just try to process a little bit more. Because again, we do have Mercury going into Sagittarius. I think it's already in Sagittarius. We also have Mercury, you know, squaring Neptune, Mars squaring Jupiter. Those are going to bring up those big themes there. So time to process, I think, for you guys. And especially so when you get, like, how am I going to show this here? How are we going to do this? How are we going to do this? We're going to do it, okay. We're going to talk about it. We're talking about it. Okay, the Chariot, Eight of Swords, the Tower, and the Lovers. So let's talk about these two first here and why they, or actually let's talk about them all at once. How are we going to do this? Can I hold them all up? Because I know that you guys probably want to see them now. So the Chariot is there, obviously, but it's, for me, what I get from this is pushing yourself, making the wrong decision here. You are not seeing the consequences of what running at this speed with a broken leg is gonna do to you. It's almost like, you know how like border collies, I don't know, I feel like it's a thing with border collies that I read somewhere, where like they will just run and run and run and run and run, and it's like they will hurt themselves and they will still try to run like that, and you'll have to be like you gotta tie you up because you're acting wild, and that's just going to hurt you in the long term. You've got to stop. In all senses. I don't mean just being physically, but I do mean physically for you guys especially. But in terms of making your goals happen, making these things happen. You have all these really big ideas, and it's just, I don't want to say like it's not the right time, but the timing is not right. You just don't have it in you this month, and it's going to be like you're pushing at something that's, it's like, while you're pushing, I'm trying to like think of how I can decide this. While you're pushing at this, you don't see that above this, while you're pushing on this, you're going to have a giant like ball that's going to fall down and crush you. Like, you don't want that. You got to pay attention. You got to process. You got to sit and look at the situation more, because we don't want to make the wrong decisions. And that's very, very prominent this month. And it can also feel, I'm getting for some of you, that it's going to feel very disconnected and off in terms of love. And that can create some big fights. And you don't want to separate because you're trying to push yourself, especially in terms of work and whatever it is that you want to accomplish. I mean, like, this is outside of, you know, just love and relationships and stuff like that. It feels like these are, you have things that you want to accomplish, things that you feel like you should be on the road for, things that you feel you can ride two horses one ass with, and you cannot. So, because it's like, there's just like this thing, it's like, you don't even see where you're going. It's like, I just have to get up and keep going. I'm going to do this here, and I'm going to do that there, and I'm just going to throw my energy at all these different things. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa there. That's not going to get this moving faster. This is not going to solve this problem. Especially when you have this, like, not only was the Eight of Wands, you know, your overall energy card, which came out before the reading, I put it back in, then it comes out in the middle of the reading again. We had that Seven of Wands, that Nine of Swords first come up, and that's the same feeling of like, there's nothing that I can do to like, to fight my way through this right now. And I know that's a really frustrating place to be in. This might not be a very like positive sounding reading, but it is a moment where you will see a lot of things about yourself that do need to be changed and that can be changed, and you don't want, it's gonna like throw in your face, I feel like this month, the you don't want to be anymore, and the fears that involve you. It's like you're backtracking into these old fears, into this old place of like, I'm afraid I'm going to end up in this position again. I'm afraid this is going to happen. And it's all because, you know, me throwing spaghetti at the wall is not sticking. It's just not going to stick this month. You've got to wait. Things are changing. They're on the move. This does come up. Despite all this other energy, this is still here. But what you have to understand is that you don't have the energy right now, because you're processing this from the Tower. Oh no, I'm getting for some of you like, oh no, I put my foot in my mouth again at a time when I shouldn't have been speaking. At a time when emotions were ruling me, and my feeling of not, this fear of not being in control, of not having any power right now, of not being this usual vivacious, really in control, really able to be anything kind of self usually is. But you have to pull these, you're going through the process. Again, like I said, that's why I really wanted to focus on that solar eclipse in Sagittarius, in the new moon at the beginning of the month, because we have that's clearing all this out. That's going to start this process. Again, this isn't just going to happen like, oh, it's done that day, it's over. No, this is going to go on for like half the month there until you hit that, I think it's the full moon in Gemini. And that's also the same like day-ish, like when Venus goes retrograde in Capricorn. We're just going to say it's the same day, 18th, 19th. But that's a really big time. And that's going to be where you're going to start to feel things shift and change. But you got to go through most of the month in this position. And I'm sorry that sucks. Believe me, we're all kind of going through this right now. I mean, I think everybody is kind of having a tough time with the astrology. I don't know who's having an easy time with it, because like I would love to know them. I would love to have that chart that makes this year and this time of the year and the next few months easy, but I don't. So, and I'm going to say honestly, if you're a Leo rising, you probably don't either. But it's okay, because we're fixed signs. We're going to push through. We're going to get through it. So like I was saying, it's really going to hit, again, like in this 11th house there, friends, community, realizing, you know, your communities and friends and coworkers, like who you want to hang out with and really why. Why do you want to have these people around? And that's going to also wrap up with that what you were kind of going through on that new moon of like, what in terms of pleasure has changed for you? What in terms of what you enjoy has changed for you? Your relationships to those things. And again, this is also when Venus is going retrograde in Capricorn. But we also have this thing on that same day of that. There's a lot going on the 18th, 19th. But yeah, we have that going on in Gemini. We also have this Jupiter. What did that say? Jupiter in your 7th house of relationships. Yeah, in Aquarius. Having a trine there, which is actually pretty good. That's going to ease the energy and kind of like ease you out of this north-south node. Like, again, because this isn't an eclipse, actually. This is like the last one and it's not an eclipse. Amazing, right? Finally, we can breathe for a second. So it's going to feel a little better. It is going to, you know, bring those themes up, but it's going to be like an ease out where you can maybe even enjoy yourself a little bit with that trine there, because there's a lot of heavy energy for you guys. So I do want to say, take the enjoyment where you can, but don't overextend yourself. I'm going to say to a lot of you, it's going to feel like you're isolated this month, like you're in isolation. It really feels that way. But you know what? This is a really good time to work on our emotional self. And I know that all the fire energy is what we want to be doing, but I'm feeling like there's not a lot of emotional stability behind it for some of you. And that's okay, because we're working through it. We're going to figure that out. Oh, I actually really like this. You see this really beautiful, and also I want to say, like with parents too, you might be working with some, in terms of releasing some emotional pent up crap that your parents have left you. Things that you can finally separate yourself from as like your own person, as your own energy. You can finally let some things go or not allow it to hang on you in almost like a physically energetic way. Okay. But we get that. Oh, let me put it the way that I pulled it. Yeah. Queen of Cups, Ace of Pentacles reversed, King of Cups reversed. I'm feeling we have a lot of empathy and love to give this month. Let's just say that. There's a lot of soft, gushy feelings, a need for affection, a need to show affection, a need to be affectionate, a need to be loving, a need to be caring, maybe even a need to, it feels like, find this almost like Cancerian stability, because Cancer is, you know, a lot about home and like caring and mother energy, that kind of stuff. And it feels like we don't have a lot of that stable energy right now. We have some of this, but it's not stable in our life in somebody else. And it's almost like I feel like, how do I say this? Like if you had a hole in like a water bed and it would just slowly leak out. That's the kind of energy I get for you guys. Whereas you feel very solid in your emotions in some moments. It's very up and down emotionally for you guys, and that's okay. Let yourself feel the emotions. You're going through this. Love yourself, nurture yourself, because otherwise you're not going to feel very grounded, okay? And don't give so much to others this month. If you don't have the advice, like I said, Mercury's in Sagittarius, don't try to speak it. If you don't have the right words, it's going to blow up in your face. It's not going to be good. Okay, you're gonna make some, you don't want to give the wrong advice this month. So I would say, even though you guys love to be like, let me help you with this, let me tell you about this, and that's fine. And usually we love a nice Leo's advice and guidance and their input, but I would say this month, maybe refrain from doing that, because I just feel like mentally you're feeling a little off. Also, we'll talk about him in a second. Actually, I want to finish talking about these guys. Did I say he was the King of Cups? No, wait, this was the other king. I was like, when did he pop out? That's the King of Swords. I looked at him in the blue and I saw King of Cups. So again, I'm going to say what I originally said with the emotions, though, is that you're not feeling very you're feeling very emotionally inept and immature. Like, it's almost like you're regressing in some moments. And your inner child just needs to be fed a little bit, okay? Your inner child is freaking out because you're letting go of some really probably negative past relationships, habits, ways of going about relationships, and nostalgia especially, that like there's a really big sense of letting go of like this like dreamy childhood fantasies that are just like not who you are anymore, and not things that you need to be keeping like in terms of like what you believe in and what you want. So for some of you, I feel like maybe an ex comes back or something gets thrown in your face, and very intense sudden attraction to them, and then being like, whoa, where did that come from? And like, why I feel like I need to let this go, because this is kind of you're looking at it and you're like, this is toxic as hell, and like this is really bad, and this is really like a no. It could even be like, again, like I'm saying, like things from like teenage years is what I'm getting for some of you. But and again, like 2014 was the last time we had this retrograde in Capricorn. So think about who you were then, what was going on then, because a lot of those themes are going to come back up. And it feels very like, I don't know, like you become like the old you for a second and you really don't like it. And you're like, whoa, this is like out of control. This is out of control. This is no. And I do think that you might also be feeling, on top of that, that you're having a lot of trouble. I don't want to say with father figures and like, you know, very masculine energy, but very masculine energy. You're going to feel like people are being, the men in your life is what I'm getting for some of you. Like the men in your life, whether it's your partner or your dad, or maybe like just in general, men in your life that are important to you might feel cold and off and harsh with you this month. And you're not going to understand why, but it's because you're coming from this very ungrounded, I don't want to say chaotic, but it does feel very chaotic. I don't see any ground that you are standing on here. It's like every time there's an earth card or something that could like provide stability, you're like, turn it up on its head. Tower. Throw it out. It's like, okay, okay, but, and again, I think for some of you, this also has to do with work. I just keep getting this really big sense that like work is changing for you a lot, how you love it, how you enjoy it. And you might even be seeing like how you were doing it really mentally manipulated you into a negative way, into seeing yourself and your efforts and your work in a very negative light. Or you might just be tired and feeling like, I put a lot of my work time and energy, I went to school for this thing and I'm not even doing it, and I've been beating myself up about it for so long, and it's time for you to stop doing that. So whatever it is in terms of work that you're beating yourself up for not accomplishing, doing, being, whatever it is in education or work or whatever this might be, let it go. It's time to let that go, okay? Let's see, what else we want to pull out here? We haven't talked about relationship that much, so let's do it. We're going to talk about this then, because I really like that this is here, and I do feel like we're going to end the month in a really like, like better-ish kind of place. So don't worry. Because Jupiter goes into Pisces, and that'll bring in some really new, different, interesting energy, getting into really different things. It's ninth house, about your beliefs, expansion in that kind of area, your dreams, your hopes. Oh, interesting stuff. Also death. We don't need to talk about that, but not really that. Let's see. Guys, like, I just like, we all know that I read reversals, but I have to pay attention to them when they show up. I'm sorry. It's who I am as a reader. And I know this isn't the month that we were hoping for to come back to, but I think maybe that's why we're here on this month, right? Notice how I said the King of Cups wasn't there and he wasn't reversed before? Well, he showed up. So he's here as well. Seven of Swords, King of Cups reversed, and the Sun reversed. For a lot of you, I think that you're going to have some really big change-ups with friends, or a really big sense of community, something that you felt very at home in. I feel like there's going to be a really big change there. I don't want to say some of you might be going through breakups this month. I really don't. And that's why we're going to look at love specifically after this, because this feels less about that and more about something else. It's just very... I mean, 10 of Pentacles reverse, 5 of Cups. Oof. I don't want to say monetary loss or loss of something, because for some of you, this feels like more like you're walking away from something. For a lot of you, this feels like you're walking away from a path in life that you dedicated yourself to, that you really thought was going to be for you, and it's just not, and that's okay. It is okay to say that you don't want to do something. It's okay. And it doesn't have to be called a failure. I feel like I brought this up in a different signs video, but I always forget after I say them. But it's okay. It's not a failure. You can't see moving on from something that wasn't working, that you weren't enjoying, as a failure. Okay? Because sometimes the universe takes away things from us that we weren't ready to give up, even though it was long past the point we should have given this up, let it go, and moved on. And I think some of you might be lamenting in a place of loss about that. And for some of you, this loss has to do with relationships with family. I don't want to say like death or something like that, but just you've kind of separated yourself in a way where you're like, some of you just can't be around them, and that's okay. And some of you could just be, again, like with this traveling thing reverse, some of you could be, again, literally in isolation or literally stuck somewhere, because there's a really stuck feeling here of like, I'm trying and I just can't. And that could be really making you feel very sad. I mean, it is a time of the holidays for a lot of people. So if that is the case, I do see that being a possibility for some of you. But for a lot of you, I think it's also letting go of these really long-standing, I don't want to say like familial, but like almost ancestral, again, it could be family running, behaviors, traits, patterns. And you're finally like recognizing things. And maybe it took this kind of moment here. Maybe it took that moment and that kind of behavior for you to see. And that's okay, because that's all the process of this, which is a really big back end energy. Both of these feel like back end energy. Like this is coming out and this is coming in. Okay? To this reading. So again, 7 of Swords reversed. Some of you are gonna find, I'll just say, some of you are gonna find out things about somebody that you really thought was more emotionally mature than they are. I think for some of you, you might realize you put someone on a pedestal, and that might make your ego feel deflated in some way. Like, I built this person up, and I can't believe this, and I don't know, and like, how am I gonna explain this to other people that I was talking so big about this person to, or whatever it might be. Some of you might be finding something out that, yes, emotion, like that hits your ego in a way that makes you feel very emotionally discordant, unhinged, I'm going to say, for some of you, and you might be ready to snap back in ways. But I'm going to tell you again this month, this is not your month for the clapbacks. This is not your month to win the conversation, to even be the main person in the conversation. Let others take the wheel this month. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's going to be all right. Because again, this is at the end. Don't worry. Let's pull some from the Michael. Oh, I don't know. Actually, I don't feel like you guys. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Michael Ulrich deck for love. Even though it's a very, like, I wouldn't say this is a very lovey-dovey deck, but, like, I don't know. Let's do it. Because I feel like there's so many big things happening for you this month that really big spiritual things. That we're gonna just have to look at love here for a second. Love and romance. Oh, why? That one always tricks me, I will say. No, not yet. Can we do Leo's a little bit of niceness this month? Sometimes you gotta clear the energy and it becomes something a little brighter. I want to say, especially if there's a Gemini that you gave another chance to, please, like, no. Like, just, if that's what you're thinking of doing and that's what the Tower moment is and it hasn't happened yet, don't do it, okay? Like, for some of you, you're dealing, like, very specifically, I think, with a toxic Gemini, and I would just say no. But that's all I'm going to say, just because the Lovers has come a couple times here. Love is going to feel really like a dark forest this month. And you're going to feel like, what am I doing? If you're in a relationship. And I think that other people are going to, you're going to like seek out advice in other people. And they're going to tell you things that you don't want to hear. And so then you're going to do the opposite. And it's not going to go so well. But it's your prerogative. That's why I'm here to tell you these things. But I don't want to laugh. I laugh when things are awkward, obviously, as a reader, if you guys have never seen me before, because I'm trying to make light of a painful situation a little bit. You guys are going through a lot. I feel like we need some laughs this month. Please watch funny things. But, because your energy is a lot this December. I'm afraid that all the readings for December are going to be this long. Oh, my God. But we get that 5 of Cups again. But he looks joyous. It's like, yeah, I've been through the ringer. Yeah, I might be facing this. And this came out neither upright nor reverse. So again, endings this month. And knowing that whatever it is that ended, if it has to end, you can pull those swords out by the end of the month and be in a really different place. Because you guys, I will say, of all the Leos of all my friends, everybody that I've ever known to be in relationships, the Leos in my life just boot and rally. Like, y'all just boot and rally. It's amazing. And I don't know how you do it. It's kind of scary, but that's why I think all this emotional stuff is coming up, because you've got to purge it. But you can do it. Boot and rally. That's going to be the name for your reading, I think. Boot and rally. But 5 of Cups, 10 of Swords. Yeah. Queen of Swords comes after that. There is this real, almost like diplomatic sense. And again, like I said, that's why I said this could also be the Gemini. If you're dealing with a Gemini in terms of love, I don't know, guys. I don't want to say all Geminis, but I don't know. They're not showing up well in your reading today, so I'm just going to say that. That's just the feeling I get. Or it could be other air signs, but there's a real coldness to this. Like somebody really just, there's a real coldness towards you about love and love relationships and love problems. You might feel like you're getting the back of the hand from even like your friends when things kind of go wrong, or people that are supposed to support you and love you. And it's because you might see it this way. Like, oh my God, they just all think I'm dumb. They think I'm like this. They think I'm naive. They think whatever. It's like, and again, I'm not saying this for you guys that are married, you're going through stuff, that's for sure, but it's definitely stuff that you can work through, okay? Just don't, again, the Ace of Wands reversed to me is very much like taking your frustration and your energy and just driving it the wrong way and like accidentally smacking someone in the head the wrong way. And it's like, you don't want to wake the Leviathan this month, okay? Like you really don't. I promise. Like I promise. You don't want to be the winner of this fight. You don't want to be the person that starts the argument. You don't want to be the most fiery person in it. You don't want that this month. It's definitely not what you want, okay? I'm not going to say it's not going to happen because it looks like it might happen, but yeah. There's this Hierophant card, the Moon reverse, the 9 of Swords. There's a lot of fear also I get for some of you about marriage, about commitment. Some of you it's even committing to a career path, but again, we're talking about love here, or going back to school even. But there's this real sense of like reestablishing what commitment is to you, what long-term commitment is to you, and how you feel about marriage for some of you. I think some fears and negatives, a lot of like this fantasy negative stuff is coming up here. And it's going to make you feel a little crazy. Because when I get the moon reverse and the Nine of Swords together and then right after each other, I get that. I don't want to say like it's a moment of psychosis, but this is a sign of not feeling very mentally well. So that's why I want to just reiterate, take care of yourself this month and recognize if you are like this, that you can ask other people, and that dealing with it the way that you have been dealing with it is not going to work. So if you're in a partnership and you're not talking to them and you're like about like what you need to talk to them about, and you're starting to act off, like especially if you have mental health issues, or not issues, but like mental health things that you carry and have to take care of, and you haven't been taking care of them, or they're coming up in different ways, it's time to deal with that. It's really time to reach out and deal with that, because the way that you've been doing it, Seven of Pentacles reverse, is not working. And other things about your relationship, the way that you're building it, you're going to look at it and say, this isn't working, and I'm letting my fears and all these other like negative things that I'm carrying from the past get in the way of this new thing, or of the existing relationship here, and I don't want that. I want to change. I want to be different. But again, I'm going to say, don't rush into this. This is a long-term process. You've got a lot of processing to do this month, so please just process, okay? You can boot and rally in like February, but I just need you to process in December, because January is going to be a lot and you got to deal with that. And then things will eventually get better. But I know this hasn't been like I feel like the most positive reading, but I want to say that like you have had the Wheel of Fortune show up twice. That showed up twice now. We also have the World. Did I say that showed up twice? No, it showed up once. I'm wrong. But I don't know why I said twice, but it feels like that. That's the only way I can say is that I feel is that like fortune is coming for you, success is coming for you. You have to go through this very dark night here. It's like you're in the thick of it now. Yes, these are dark days. You're in the thick of it now, but you're going to get through, and you're going to come out so beautifully and so on top. And that's all I really want to say to you, okay? I promise that things are looking up. Things are changing and shifting in a very positive direction for you guys, especially work-wise, especially life-wise. You're going to get that stability. You're going to have the success. You're a Leo. You don't need to worry about it. Just like with Tauruses, when they freak out, like when they like are not working or not stable for a second, it's like, relax, okay? If you're not on top of it and you're not like Miss Thing for a second, and you're not doing everything and being everything you want to be and being your bright shining sunflower of a sign, it's okay for a second. It is okay to rest. It's okay. And whatever you are trying to perceive or are seeing within you, and whatever you haven't accomplished or whatever you're losing this month as a failure, you have got to find a way to look at that in a different reality and through a different lens, because you're going to fall back into that negative habits, and you don't want that to happen. You built up a certain stability. You built up some security. And yes, you can change ways about how you go about things. These things don't happen again, but you have to recognize that just because something isn't working the way it used to, that doesn't work for you anymore, it's not a failure. It doesn't make you any less. You're human, and it's okay. All right? I love you guys so much. I don't have any main oracles over here, and so I would have pulled one, but I'm just going to leave you with this, I think, just because we talked so much in your reading, and I haven't talked to you guys in a while, and I love you. And if you want to book a private reading, all the information is below. I'm only doing a very limited amount for December and into January, because obviously I have a lot going on too. But do email me if you would like to book a reading, okay? Thank you guys so much. Remember to follow, remember to share, to subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I love you guys so much. Namaste.